Am I the asshole for calling my dad's mistress a whore and saying the only thing she contributes is her pussy? So my dad's 47M girlfriend is barely in her late 20s. They haven't even been together for 2 years, and she already got pregnant. Meanwhile, I'm 17F, still in school, about to graduate high school. We've never gotten along because she's always trying to insert herself where she doesn't belong. Last week, she had the audacity to come at me, complaining that I don't help take care of her kid and don't contribute to their household. Mind you, we don't even live together because I have my own apartment unit. Before this argument, she told my dad she didn't want me coming over to their place, and he actually kicked me out. So I stayed away. No problem. But now she's mad that I'm not helping? Pick a struggle, girl. This morning, I finally snapped. She keeps playing the victim, running around getting sympathy like she's the one suffering here. So I told her straight up that she's a whore, and the only thing she brings to the table is her pussy. Basically, all she does is sleep with my dad Lowell. And of course, my dad loses his mind, calling me disrespectful and saying I went below the belt. Like, seriously? Where was this energy when she was disrespecting me? But somehow I'm the villain now? Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for giving my brother's kids away to my infertile sister-in-law who has been harassing me for a baby after he dropped them off at my house without asking? So I, 28F, am married to my husband, 29M. His sister, my sister-in-law, 36F, is infertile, and a little while ago she demanded I give her my firstborn child because she deserves to know the joy of motherhood. I told her that my husband and I are not planning on having kids. Don't get me wrong, I love children, but if I see one or hear one or think about one, I fly into a blind rage and cause massive amounts of property damage, so it's safe to say they're not for me. Now at every family event she loudly complains about how her meaningless life is all my fault and nobody ever stands up for me because she's the golden child. Meanwhile, my brother has like 7 or 8 or 900 unruly, unwashed, screaming children. He asked me if I could babysit over the weekend and I said no because I am busy clipping my toenails and also I just don't feel like it. I reminded him that I fly into rages around children, but he said family helps family. I put my foot down, but early the next morning he dumped his kids on my lawn and sped away, tires squealing as he fled the scene. I immediately saw red, but instead of attacking my surroundings with a hammer, I mustered up my willpower and called my sister-in-law. I told her, "Good news, I have some babies for you to adopt immediately." Sister-in-law was overjoyed and came and took my brother's kids away to live under her bridge. When my brother came back later, he asked where his kids were and I told him what I'd done. My brother started yelling that I was insane, but I told him not my circus, not my stupid prizes. My sister-in-law refuses to return said stupid prizes to their parents, saying they're hers now because they were abandoned. The cops are refusing to get involved, saying this post is obviously fake. They pointed out that it was posted in a parody subreddit with the shitpost flair. Like, who even checks that? I tried to get my mom on my side, but she just shook her head and said, "You are nearly as stupid as the people in the comments section who will still think this post is real even after you explicitly said otherwise." I said, "Well, it could be real. Stuff like this happens all the time." But she disagreed, saying that my only proof was other fake Reddit posts that had slowly warped my sense of reality, and she was concerned by how susceptible I was becoming to divisive nonsense. She said I'd believe anything as long as it conformed to a narrative. Then she transformed into the winged serpent Quetzalcoatl and flew away, which I've repeatedly asked her not to do anymore, but that's a whole other post. Update 1. Okay, lots of people saying I should have auctioned off the kids to all the infertile women of my country. I'll admit I dropped the ball on this one, but next time a relative abandons their children on my property, it happens regularly, as Reddit can attest to, I'll do it. Update 2. Commenters are pointing out that it's weird how nobody is blowing up my phone, so I got in the family group chat and was like, "Hey guys, what gives? Why aren't you blowing up my phone after I gave away my brother's kids?" And my cousin was like, "While we don't approve of what you did, we all have our own lives and don't have time to devote to spamming you with messages that you're not going to read anyway." A whole bunch of people heart reacted to that, which honestly felt like gaslighting emo. Then my other cousin was like, "You can't really expect us to go out and get extra phone numbers just for the sake of harassing you?" Yes? That's what family does? Would I be the asshole if I told them to stop being narcissists? Update 3. Okay, I did it and my mom said, "You've got to stop calling people narcissists just because they're not doing exactly what you want." I don't know how she types so quickly when she doesn't even have fingers. Guy proposing steals bride's bouquet. So this happened over 12 years ago. My boyfriend and the time, now husband, brought me to a wedding as a +1. The bride and groom both went to our very small college. They were fresh out of college, so most of the guests were all in their 20s. During the reception, the bride and all the single ladies gather up so the bride can toss the bouquet. Then seemingly of nowhere, A guy comes up behind the bride, who is holding the bouquet up over her head, poised to launch it into a crowd of hopeful women, and grabs the bouquet from the bride. Then he gets on one knee in front of a bridesmaid, offers her the bouquet and proposes. No one knows how to react. A good 5 to 10 seconds of absolute silence as everyone is trying to comprehend the sheer audacity. The bridesmaid says yes and everyone goes back to their table. To this day, I still find myself wondering if the bride knew and approved this proposal. From what I remember, the bride seemed surprised, but not upset. Either way, we left shortly after. My fiancé's friend over invited people to his wedding and now his mom is calling everyone to uninvite them. My fiancé has been friends with this guy since childhood, but I don't know him very well. What I do know, he's loud, talks endlessly about himself, and gets drunk at every party. It's not my vibe, but I tolerate him when necessary because I love my fiancé, who is nothing like this man by the way. At a recent New Year's Eve party, this friend bragged nonstop and made a huge fuss about his black tie wedding this July, claiming, "Everyone is invited, I better see all of you there." He literally called out individual people who hadn't RSVP'd in front of everyone, and some of them just hadn't received the invitations in the mail yet. Fast forward to 2 days ago, his mother, he's 33 years old, called us. She essentially informed us that her son was having her uninvite all +1s because they unexpectedly ran out of space at the venue. No, you're just dumb and over-invited people. Venues don't shrink overnight. Also, seriously? You're making your poor mother call us to tell us this? Turns out that he didn't fund his wedding, or funded very little, despite acting like he was funding all of it. As a result, most of his friends and even some family members were uninvited, as his fiancée and her family got priority when selecting guests. Keep in mind, they've been letting people believe they were invited to a destination wedding for months. Some people even bought airline tickets only to be uninvited. Truly unbelievable. Edit. No, my fiancé is not attending the wedding. Entitled coworker gets mad because someone won't do his job for him, then proceeds to do nothing all day. Hi, first time posting here, hope the writing is okay. This happened yesterday while I, M24, was working from home. I work in the IT department alongside a few others. Two of my colleagues, let's call them Eric, the entitled one, and Mark, were in the office yesterday. I received a ticket through our system requesting 4 docking stations for other employees. Since I wasn't in the office, I asked Mark if he could prepare the dock stations and ship them out via Purolator, and then send me the PIN once it was done. Mark agreed and started getting everything ready at his desk. Here's where it starts. Eric and Mark sit face to face, so Eric could see and hear what Mark was doing. When Eric noticed Mark prepping a package, he asked if Mark could also send something to Purolator for him. Mind you, we all received the same training and have our own Purolator accounts. Everyone knows how to handle their own shipping. Mark politely declined, saying he was already working on my request and Eric could handle his own, like we're all supposed to. Eric wasn't having it. He went back to his desk all grumpy. But then he noticed that the ticket Mark was working on was assigned to me, so he got up again and confronted Mark, saying something like, "So you'll do ops package but not mine? That doesn't seem fair." Mark responded with a very reasonable, "Yeah? EEP is working from home. He doesn't have dock stations or shipping materials." Eric lost it. He started ranting about how we're a team and how Mark should help him too. He even threatened to go complain to our boss. Mark didn't care and just went back to his work. Eric gave up and spent the rest of the day scrolling through TikTok at his desk instead of just doing the shipment himself.